to Canuck of the Dead. I have been waiting for this episode because this film came out and it's going to be coming out very, very soon on Blu-ray and DVD. And I got to watch this, and it is like the best that these guys have done so far. And it's been fun to watch what they do because you're never disappointed. So without further ado, I'd like to bring in Chad Archibald and Cody Calahan. Guys, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Great. Yeah, this film, I mentioned to Chad briefly before we started, this movie is a blast because it's not what you expect when you start watching this film.
Yeah, and it was fun to make. It was the first time we did a horror comedy before, so it was a new challenge for us for sure. But man, it was so much fun to make.
All right. Well, just to get everybody up to speed, I'm just going to show the trailer so they have an idea of what to expect when they watch.
Need a ride?
As far as I can.
Hop in.
This is what you said to me. A group of serial killers attending a 12-step meeting tried to kill me and my accomplice before disappearing, leaving us with 3 dead bodies?
No, 2 dead bodies.
It's one word, right? Bullshit.
Sorry to interrupt your meeting.
Thanks so much for coming out. How do you maintain your lifestyle and keep your urges under control?
I murdered the same victim repeatedly.
Just give me a mask.
Have you ever bitten into a kidney?
What is this, some kind of support group for serial killers?
Why are you here? It's complicated.
Thought you had our little group sessions on lockdown. Are you Skinner, a slicer dicer, or corpse humper?
How did you get in here?
I got drunk at the bar. I passed out in a closet for a few hours, okay?
911.
Yes. Oh my God, it's horrible.
Now, Bonnie told me that people are coming here to try and kill him. And maybe us.
What? Us? Why?
Tony!
Quarter! It got really messy. I like it messy sometimes.
Smack in the face. I'm like a coiled snake.
Gentlemen, we are about to have a lot of fun tonight.
Hey, I didn't even gag.
Your film opens basically saying with the kills the guy. Like that totally throws you off your game because that's not what's supposed to happen. How did this kernel start?
It was, I mean, the whole idea started around just the name of the movie. I had scribbled down Vicious Fun would make an awesome horror comedy. And then, I don't know, it took a few years of just kind of putting in different serial killers and sort of, homages to things that we wanted to do. And it kind of birthed from there. And then after we started working with the writers, it really kind of came to life after that.
Was there any part of this that you would consider your favorite? Like you said, you had to mold the different serial killers and the different characters and stuff. Was there one in there that jumped out to you that you kind of wanted to make sure made the cut?
It's probably Julian Richings and playing Fritz, only because I think he was like the first person that I had in mind, and I was like, okay, if I'm gonna make this movie, he's got to play this sadistic clown character. So I think that was my favorite, just because that was like a note under the title before there was even a concept that Julian Richings was going to be in this movie.
Oh, you were planning that far ahead?
Oh yeah. Well, I had just worked with him on what was it? Septic Man, I think, or maybe the first one was Monster Ball. Anyway, it was back in the Foresight days and those those movies that they did, and I had like talked to him about it, like sort of this loose idea. And again, it's like it completely changed, but yeah, he was down, and so was Robert Maillet. They were cast before there was even a treatment.
They were both in Septic Man, yeah.
So how hard was this to film then? Because this was filmed during COVID.
No, just before.
COVID. Yeah.
Oh, it's just before.
Yeah, but we got our post got nailed by COVID, so we had to like stop halfway through post and then figure out how to do post from, not going in to do color cracks and sound and all that. So we had to sort of be part of those learning curves of making that work. And then I think just at the end of our post, we were able to like slip into like the studio to like do a couple days in the sound mix and a couple days in the color correct. But yeah, we got attacked pretty hard in the post, but we got a shot before, which was good.
Yeah, we had to shut down our post for a while because we got to the point where we're ready to do ADR and bring the cast in just to do additional dialogue. And we just couldn't do it. Everything was locked down. We just couldn't get people actually in a room to do that. So we talked about maybe getting like, people started talking about vans and stuff that were like portable studios that you'd go to people's houses and do this. And we just were like, screw it, we'll just wait.
Oh, so you didn't even try the virtual ADR?
Oh, no. we definitely
we did the sound. Yeah, we did sound. We ended up doing sound and color virtually first, and then finished in studio.
Yeah. Eventually, we were like, "Wow, this is going to stick around for a while. We got to finish this movie." But
yeah.
Now, when you guys did your casting, yeah, I know, Cody, you said you had a couple people in mind, but how did you go about finding the certain people? Because this movie, more than the other ones that I've seen you guys, well, and that's hard saying after I'll Take Your Dead, but these characters were perfect. Like Joel, my God, that guy just nailed that character. And how did you do that? How did you find these people?
Well, so Joel, he auditioned for a movie that we had shot prior called The Oak Room, and it was just such a good audition, and he almost got the part, but then the part actually ended up going to RJ Mitty. So we had kept in touch with him, and when this movie came around, we wanted him to tape for it, and like the tape is awesome. Like I don't know, I think it actually is it on the no, it's not on the Blu-ray, no. but it was gonna be just because his tape was incredible, and then like other casts, as I was saying, it's like a lot of the other people we had in mind and we had worked with. Ari Millen, who plays Bob, I grew up with him. So he read like a first draft and was sort of given notes on his character then. So it was a really collaborative process with everybody, which was, I don't know, maybe why it shines so well.
It does. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. So there are people sometimes, like with Julian and Robert, where you will reach out to them as opposed to a casting process.
Oh yeah. Like we reached out and met him for a beer, and I think I don't even know if we sent him the script first. We just sat down with him and gave him the pitch, and I think Julian was like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome. If the script is good, then I'm in." So, but yeah, we just those were all offers. Like Joel and Amber Goldfarb, she taped, and it was like, obviously the star of all the tapes. So. But a lot of the other people were just offers.
Yeah. And right at the end of casting, we got to actually finally get into a room and bring a couple of people in, just to act against each other and trying to see how they're, how they would work together. And Amber and Evan came in together and just absolutely nailed it. We were, holding laughter in as we were going through the audition. So for sure, we knew for sure.
That's awesome. Now, just before we dig into the film, I want to ask you guys, because you guys have been partners for quite some time. One directs, one produces, back and forth. How do you guys keep this kind of thing going when you're doing these kind of films? Because it can be tense.
Support, therapy, group therapy, long talks, long walks on the beach.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time talking to each other through all this stuff. It's we always have each other's back as well. I think we've been able to navigate this industry, which pulls you in every sort of direction you could possibly want to go or not want to go. And yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it too is just me and Cody stick to ourselves a lot. We figure out we love telling stories. We love working on scripts. We love, just creating things, and we're best buds, and we kind of get get to do it together, even though it feels like, especially during COVID, it feels like, we're alone on like a little rock floating through space somewhere. But I mean, I think the other thing too is both of us are very, creative, even on set. We're often right beside each other on the monitors. We respect each other's opinions. We, limit egos to as small as they can be. And just, both of us, we're not only working for ourselves as directors, we own Black Fawn Films together. We know that every project that we do is not just for us, it's for the company, it's for, just horror fans that we want to, make something different and unique that stands out. So, I mean, regardless who's producing or directing, it really feels like every time we go to set, we're trying to just create the best possible thing ever.
That's excellent. Yeah, especially can you stay on the same page. That's the big thing there too. Well, with this one, I got to ask, because I thought it was interesting that, our main character there falls asleep or passes out, I guess, in a Chinese restaurant. What made you choose that setting in that particular location, if it was a location?
So in the script, to be honest, I can't even remember it now. Yeah. So this could have been, I don't remember what version this is, but in the script it's like a warehouse, and there was like kind of different ways that he got it. He got into the warehouse and ended up, I think he falls, hits his head, wakes up, and this is happening in a more like horror setting. But we were location scouting, and we found all of these set pieces for from this other movie that was shooting, or this other TV show, and we found out that when they left, they were going to leave all these slats and stuff at the studio. So we kind of revamped the script to accommodate for us to build the Chinese food restaurant. So so our production designer jumped in and was pretty excited to do that, and we ended up revamping the script around the location because it just looked better and felt better, especially for the 80s setting, because the warehouse was like, we were trying to figure out how to get like an 80s feel in there, and I wanted neon lights, but it didn't make any sense that they were like, there was at one point we're like, well, what if it's a warehouse that's like a neon factory or like a neon light factory or something, but we couldn't figure it out. So this just worked. And so yeah, we built that location after we found out we could get those walls cheap in the filmmaking.
Right?
Yeah.
And how hard was it adapting a comedy? Because you guys, like I said, stick with the horror, but you've been venturing out. Like I'll Take Your Dead did more of a drama horror, and now you've got this one, which is comedy. How hard is it to branch out like that?
It's weird because like I feel like we'd have different things to say about how hard it was if it didn't work. But I mean, for me, it was like, Chad wanted to, like when he was doing I'll Take Your Dead, wanted to do something different than what he had just done with Bite and the Heretics. So, bring a little drama into it, bring a little bit of the underlying family aspect. And for this, I'm like, I always wanted to make a comedy, and this was sort of an avenue to do it. So, yeah, I mean, we had faith that we could do it, but yeah, it's nice to know that it resonated, because you never really know sometimes going in. Although working with the writers, we knew we had something in the script. It's just we didn't know if we had enough money to pull it off, but we made it through.
And really, anytime we do anything, it's like we're always trying to do something different than we did last time. We never want to make the same movie, and there's a ton of horror films out there and a ton of different subgenres. And even outside of that, it's like a lot of the stuff even that we're producing or that we're developing right now is branching out even further from horror, or even deeper in horror, So we just want to keep challenging ourselves as filmmakers and telling good stories, regardless of genre, just telling good stories,
That's awesome. Okay. Then I have to ask too, with this story, why the 80s? Because literally when you're watching that could be any time, but why the 80s?
When we were writing it, like even the first draft was set in modern time, and he was sort of like, I think at the beginning he was like in a Starbucks on his laptop and stuff. But there was something about trying to homage all of these horror movies, and every time we kept picking a horror movie, it was like late 70s, 80s, mid 80s. So we kept doing that, and we were like, okay, well, it feels like if we're gonna dive into that and we want to make a movie that sort of feels like that, let's just set it there. I mean, then there's tons of other reasons too, like wanting to eliminate like cell phones and stuff so that we could have more character design and Joel could get away with being who they say he is for longer to help with that scene to motivate it. But the real emphasis that we wanted to change it from modern day to the 80s is so that it felt like it was in a movie that we were homaging, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Plus, I guess too, 80s was the height of the horror magazine.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it was fun. It was also way more interesting for us to take it out of sort of like the website and take it into like a physical magazine, because like me and Chad grew up with all of those magazines and ripping photos out and putting them on our walls and stuff. So I don't know, everything just felt way more nostalgic on set with that rather than like looking at a laptop.
I gotta ask then, how much fun was it to put the Easter eggs like on that cover?
It was pretty funny. We left it up to like the designers to sort of like, here's all our posters and stuff, because again, we don't have to pay for all that stuff. So, and they kind of ran with it. So sometimes we would get props and stuff and open it up and go, oh, okay. And we wouldn't even know that there was an Easter egg in there. So it was cool though. It was cool to kind of put all that stuff in.
Oh, so that was a surprise for you too. That's kind of cool.
Sometimes, yeah.
Because I love that in the theater when they come down that stairs and there's those posters for the sublet and things like that. I thought that's nice. And then on the cover, and I don't know if you can answer this, it said something across the bottom was a banner and had 3 titles. One of them was "I'll Take Your Dead."
Yep. The other movies? Oh, like at the very end?
Yeah.
It was "I'll Take Your Dead," "Taxi Cab Driller." It might have just been like "Bed of the Dead." I actually can't remember now.
Okay.
I know that I know it was "Taxi Cab Driller." I think "I'll Take Your Dead" was on there, but yeah, it might have been too long now.
So, and that raises another question: will we see "Taxi Cab Driller"?
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe. I mean, the writers talked about what it would look like, and that one would be like a dive into like the gritty 70s like exploitation, but maybe, yeah. I mean, it'd be funny to do that.
Yeah. It's funny, we even talked about that at one point when we were talking about the DVD. Obviously with COVID and everything, it's just too hard to do, but there was a point where we were like, man, we should like either make a trailer or just shoot a scene from Taxi Cab Driller and just put it on the DVD.
Because it was Machete I was thinking of literally when I was watching that screen in the film. And it's like, this feels so much like that.
Yeah.
Now, it's coming up for release. Did you find the actual date, Chad? I kind of peeked, but I couldn't find one.
I should really know. It's coming out. It's coming out next month.
It is April. I've already bought my Blacklist, but in case people do not know, Blacklist is a package from Black Fawn Distribution where you get goodies. And here's the picture, but I thought that doesn't really, oh, there's Cody. It doesn't really do it justice. So here's an actual list of all the fun stuff you get. Character cards, retro VHS style slipcase, which is awesome. All this cool stuff. What makes you decide to do it that way? Or is that strictly, Benner's thing?
No. We every time Black Fawn Distribution, so we have Black Fawn Films, which makes movies. We have Black Fawn Distribution, which releases films. Sometimes they work together. So anytime Black Fawn Distribution releases a Blu-ray, now we do a Blacklist package with it. So, and it's basically just a lot of it's fun because a lot of the films that we put out we actually work on as well, where we just try to create some unique, fun stuff to kind of put in the whole thing. Like in this one, it's got a Bob Neese chameleon kit, so it comes with its mustache from the movie, and a couple little things that he uses for like disguises and stuff throughout the film, because his character is just always coming in with like some sort of little disguise that's supposed to trick everyone, But they're a lot of fun for us to put together, and they're just something to make it a little bit unique, and usually try to get something from the film or badge or postcards or anything like that. So it's it's always a lot of fun to put together, and people seem to like it. And
if I remember correctly, because Bed of the Dead had the Blacklist package, and it came with a piece of the axe handle that was used to cut the tree. And the
we went out
heretic,
and we chopped it all up.
yes, and the heretic had a summon your own demon kit, which I found very helpful. You know,
and it came with a little candle and a match and a little like summoning, card and a little summon spell or whatever that you're supposed to say with it. So
they're so much fun, these blacklists, just because it puts the fun back in collecting physical media. Not like you need it, because it's so much fun, but this adds to it, I think. Because you did the Ranger, and it had a piece of the actual screen worn shirt
from the Ranger, his actual Ranger outfit.
And if I'm not correct, the very first one I got was this one right here, Bite, and it came with the actual eggs that
a little vial with actual eggs from set. So
yes,
I had a jar of eggs that I saved from set. I remember at the last day of the shoot, it was like the set was just about to be torn down, and the whole place was just covered in goo and eggs, and just, I don't know, 100,000 eggs in there. And I remember scooping it up and putting a lid on it, and it just sat on my shelf forever. And then whenever we did the blacklist package, it was like, all right, I'm going to crack this open. We'll separate them all. And I cracked it open, and it smelled so bad. It like, I had to leave like the house. Like, it was horrible. Anyways, put them all in a bunch of small vials. Everyone got a little piece of it.
That was awesome.
Don't open it.
Don't open it.
It came with a barf bag too.
Yeah. Came with a barf bag. We handed those out at the world premiere of the film. Some people use them.
So with the Vicious Fun and the Blacklist package, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I had a question and it just disappeared. So I'm going to come back to that one in a second. Going forward now, I don't know. Have you guys made anything during COVID?
We produced a film from afar that we came in at a little bit of a later stage with it, called Death Valley, that's on Shudder right now. And we did that with Matthew Ninabar and Epic in the US.
Was that more of a challenge? I'm only just curious now about filming during COVID.
No, it was a very small crew, and they had actually gone out and filmed a portion of the film already, just to raise funding for it. We came in to help, but they were in Kitchener, so they were an hour away from us, and we were only allowed so many people indoors at the same time during that point. So I think they shot the majority of the movie with less than 10 people on set in their garage. So they build sets during the week and then shoot on the weekend. And me and Cody really couldn't go to set because we weren't really allowed. It's like, it's more important for someone to hold a microphone than me and Cody standing there gawking. But it was interesting, challenge for sure to produce from afar. But to be honest, Matt Ninabar and their team just did such a good job. They've done movies in the past, High Rise Studios, and they killed it. It turned out great, and did the whole thing, post everything all through COVID, and got it done and delivered.
Excellent. So just before we wrap up this segment, I just got curious: is there a portion of that film, if you're watching Vicious Fun, that you find is the key moment in the film? What would you say that is for you in Vicious Fun?
The key moment? Man, that's a big question. In what sort of aspect? Just sort of like if I could take a slice out of it to...
The one moment you enjoy the most from that film that you think kind of indemnifies the film, like it.
Gotcha.
The three cops moment is pretty good.
Yeah, I think the speech that that Tony gives in the hallway is pretty encompassing, only because it's like that meta moment where he's talking to the audience basically. And then I don't know, for me, just encapsulating the vibe, the feeling, the characters and everything. I really like the outro, and we don't normally do those because it feels like when the movie ends, just let it end. But this, just homaging the 80s and stuff, we wanted to put an outro, and I think it was like the first thing we shot too, or the second thing we shot. And there's some about the outro that just feels, the look, feel, the sound, everything about it feels like we nailed it.
Excellent. All right, well, stick around because I'm going to talk to these guys about is there a sequel in the works, and find out what they're up to next. So stick around.